vote. Delegates, I hope, good morning first of all, I hope you have your voting credentials ready. We will be using Election Buddy today, so it will be opportune for us to take a few minutes or two just for us to go through this calibration vote. I know that some of you have done it already, so you should have my phone. Perfect. You can see my phone there. I am hiding my voting credentials. We are doing it together. Can we do that together, please, delegates? Okay, I am opening it now. So I will have to key in my password, and my colleagues in the AV system, they have ensured that you don't see my password, right? Thank you for that. And you click on enter. Very good. And we do have the calibration vote for today. Did the on-site registration go smoothly for you? This will help us prepare for next session, maybe, Madam Chair. Did the on-site registration go smoothly for you? I think it went well for me. I will click yes. Don't forget, continue. And if I were to change my mind, you can come back here, edit. You can see the work button, the no button does work. But I will keep yes to encourage Secretariat. I will say yes. Madam Chair, we should not forget to click on submit. It is being submitted. You click on next vote and you stay here. I think by now we are all very conversant with that process, so I will hand over to you, Madam Chair, and you will take us through the process. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much. And can you advise us, Mr. Parliamentarian, when it is open?
Sure, Madam Chair. The calibration is open. We opened that up at 7:30 when it comes through. Madam Chair, I noticed there's about 1,000 people have voted, but still some. Perhaps we could just have another minute and give some people time to finish this, and then we can show the calibration vote. Just so people know, once we close the calibration vote to display it, we reopen it up for the rest of the day. So we do get that. So Madam Chair, maybe just a minute.
Okay, we will wait a minute and we will give people time that haven't voted it to vote.
Madam Chair, we are up to 1,264 ballots. Just a couple of reminders, because I think some people have commented. There are, of course, people who are delegates that aren't in the room. There's a nominating committee. There's other people who work for the GC and other institutions that just are not, they have other responsibilities. So people wonder, well, there's X number of delegates. Why is there Y number of votes? And part of that is the people have other responsibilities. So, Madam Chair, we can close that now if you would like.
Please close the vote and then we will wait and please display the results.
All right, it's closed, Madam Chair. Results will be here momentarily.
Okay, that is really wonderful news, and thank you again to Secretariat for all the work that they put into in making sure that our registration went smoothly. Having got our calibration vote out of the way, I now turn again to Elder Maruvan, and we would like to have some delegate orientation.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. This is item 109 on your agenda list. Just for you to follow where we are, item 109 on your agenda. This presentation, esteemed delegates, was scheduled for Thursday afternoon, But as you remember, we were delayed a little bit, and we did not want to delay the afternoon longer. We had to reschedule this 15-minute presentation, which is an orientation for our delegates. We could not reschedule it on Friday because we had lined up already the Secretary's report, Treasurer's report. Therefore, we are having it for you this morning. Item 109 on our agenda. We have prepared this presentation for all of you delegates, 2,508 of you who registered on site. But, Madam Chair, we had specially the new delegates, those who are attending this session for the first time. We have you in mind. We can only begin to imagine that this may sound overwhelming for you. It's your first time to a GC session. What do we do? What happens? So it's true that we have conducted some items of business, but this, we hope, can still help you, especially that now we will be going to church manual items, constitution and bylaws items. So this is still very relevant. We need your total attention for the next few minutes, please. Do you know, Madam Chair, who is the person who has attended the most GC session? Maybe the person is here. Some of you are attending for the first time, I know, and it can sound overwhelming, but there are some veterans in session attendance here. I was reliably informed that there is one person who has attended 17 GC sessions, 17. And this person is attending also this session, and this person is 92 years of age, which might make him the oldest delegate to this session. I have talked about Brother Ralph Watts. I don't have him with me on the stage here, but if he's around, you can greet Brother Watts. So, you are not veterans, right? This is your first time attending. So this training is for you. So whether you are from a delegate from Auckland, or a delegate from Manila, from Mumbai, from Johannesburg, or from Mexico City, we want you to know that you are part of this big church family, and we will spend this time learning more about our responsibilities, our duties, and we have this as our objective for the next few minutes. We want to ensure that General Conference session delegates, you, especially first-time attendees, are well equipped with a clear understanding of their roles, responsibilities and privileges in the conduct of the business meetings. And we will cover, because this is I'm giving you a helicopter view, we will not be able to drill down into details. We are planning to cover these 3 topics to give you some ethical expectations of delegates. There will be 3 of them. We will talk about 3 of your rights and responsibilities as delegates, and we will end with 3 practical pieces of information for delegates. So if you are with me, we can start, and we will share with you now the 3 ethical expectations of delegates. Number 1, you have the duty of being informed. The General Conference shared with you the agenda packet 6 weeks before this meeting was convened here in St. Louis. So you had 6 weeks to read through the materials that was shared with you. One of the ethical expectations, one of your fiduciary duties as delegates is to be informed. Why? Because informed decisions are the foundation of good governance. Taking the time to read, to reflect, to ask questions during this time is your act, our act of stewardship. Our duty is to supply you with information. Yours is to read, is to be informed. We want you to have all the pieces of information you need in order to take an informed decision. So that's your first responsibility, our first responsibility. Number two, attend regular meetings. You will see when we are meeting here, you will have the opportunity of shaping the future of our church through your contributions. So my question to you is, you cannot shape the future if you are not in the room where it is happening. Right? So we are expected to be here. Showing up for meetings is the most visible expression of our commitment to serve. I know that some of us may have this urge for shopping therapy. Maybe some of you will have the urge of visiting the exhibition halls. There are other times for that, please. If you need time to visit outside of the business meeting, please do that, but not when we are meeting here. Number three, this is extremely important. One of your fiduciary duties, the expectations that we have as delegates, is number three, maintain confidentiality of privileged information. Loose lips not only sink ships, loose lips can also sink trust, integrity, and at times an entire organization. So please, no pillow talk to your wife. No parking lot talk, no hallway talk. This was also shared with members of the nominating committee. So please be careful of what you post and what you text. And please be mindful not to spread any, are you listening to me? Be careful not to spread any textually transmitted disease. That is why we have to be extremely careful about what we text. Therefore, choose your words carefully. 3 expectations: be informed, attend meetings, and maintain confidentiality. Let's move ahead. 3 rights of delegates. Your right number 1 is to vote on all business matters. We have seen we have 2,508 delegates who are registered. Not all of us are voting. This is your right. Please fulfill your fiduciary duty as a delegate. So please, we expect you to vote on all items. Right number 2. You have the right to come to the microphone. You have the right to speak on items that are under discussion. I want here to pause long enough to make one item crystal clear. It is true that English is the language that we use to conduct this business session. It's true, it's English. But we don't want English to be a barrier to delegates who don't have English as their native language. Therefore, we should not be dissuaded by the fact that we don't speak English. I am talking to our delegates who do not have English as their native language. Please, we encourage you to speak. Your contribution matters. If you can come with a translator to the microphone, please bring along a translator whom you trust. If you don't have a translator, your division secretary, your attached union secretary will provide you with one. It is your duty, it is your right to speak. And number 3, it is also your right to propose motions and make amendments. On this one, I will give a few minutes to my brother Todd. Later on, he will take us through this. So are you with me so far? What have we covered? Your responsibilities: be informed, attend meetings, maintain confidentiality. Your rights: vote, speak, make motions. We are almost ending. Let me take you to now your responsibilities as delegates. I did not invent this one. If you have your rules of order available, I would like to read to you what is written on page 18. But because of time, I have paraphrased it. So please, responsibility number 1. Delegates are to conduct themselves with Christian decorum, recognizing they are engaged in the Lord's work. This is extremely important because how we speak and act reflect not just who we are, but whose we are. I don't think, Madam Chair, I need to expand on this here, but it is important for us to know that when we come to the microphone, it is expected of us to speak with kindness to the chair and to the other fellow delegates as well. I was reading when someone said, the tongue only reflects the state of mind of its owner. Right? The tongue only reflects the state of mind of its owner. I also was reading something else, Madam Chair. There is a philologist who is a linguist as well. And listen to what is said of him. He could be silent in 7 languages. He could be silent in 7 languages. So we encourage you to speak. Please do that. But with Christian decorum, with the respect, with the kindness, because we are here conducting the Lord's business. Responsibility number 2. Refrain from speaking multiple times to the same motion until all others who wish to speak have had the opportunity of doing so. Why? Out of fairness and respect for fellow delegates. This is taken from page 18 of our Rules of Order. Words. You have understood by now that English is not my mother tongue, right? French is. So some people tell me that I speak Franglish, but that's okay. Now, I have learned something. I treat words as toothpaste. I treat words as toothpaste because tragically, once they are out of the tube, you cannot put them back again, right? So that's what I'm helping you with here. And we will now end our responsibilities, and I will read for you a quotation from the Church Manual, page 121. We are to exercise independent judgment when casting votes. Listen to this quotation from the Church Manual. Delegates to a conference session are not chosen to represent merely the church or conference. They should view the work as a whole, remembering their responsibility for the welfare of the worldwide work of the church, right? It is not permissible for church or conference delegations to organize or attempt to direct their votes as a unit. Did you see that from the Church Manual? My eyesight is being tested here. Let's go to the second one. Nor is it permissible, thank you, for the delegates from a large church or the conference to claim preeminence in directing affairs in a conference session. Each delegate should be susceptible to the direction of the Holy Spirit and vote according to personal convictions. Listen to that. Any church or conference officer or leader attempting to control the votes of a group of delegates would be considered disqualified for holding office. We should exercise independent judgment when we vote. What have we covered so far? We have covered our ethical responsibilities, be informed, attend meetings, practice confidentiality. Our rights are to vote, to speak, to make motions. Our responsibility is speak with Christian decorum, refrain from speaking multiple times on an item except others have had the time to do so. Exercise independent judgment when voting. And let's end now. I have 3 pieces of practical information for you. Please charge your device daily and come here fully charged to start the day. Advice number 2, please, please wear your badges every day. Without your badge, you are without a passport. You are not going anywhere. It's very important that you wear your badge whenever you are in this place. If you are eating and you don't have it, you might accidentally have to fast. And we don't want you to do that. And finally, my esteemed delegates, have your voting cards available, as Madam Chair already said. At times we will have recourse to the voting card, pardon me. I hope we have reached our objective, which was to share with you clearly your responsibilities, your rights, your duties as delegates. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and now we can transition to the last part of this orientation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Hensley. And I will turn to our parliamentarian to introduce the next little section of our orientation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we've experienced over the last 2 days, the rules of order, which you all received a copy of, are an important part of how we conduct this business. As God has called for us to do all things in good order, that is the rules that we have agreed to abide by. However, we also understand that this is not how people conduct their day-to-day lives, and it is not something that necessarily comes intuitive. As a result, we have a video here that we're going to play for you. This was played during the orientation sessions a month ago or so, but we felt it would be beneficial to the body to better understand how rules of order and how the system works so that your voice can be heard and we can move forward in good order. So with that, Madam Chair, I think we're ready to play the video, if that's okay.
Thank you very much, and if we could play the video, that would be great.
Greetings and congratulations on being selected as a delegate to the 62nd General Conference session. You play a vital role in conducting the business of the Church. The General Conference in session is the highest authoritative body in the Church. The most important decisions the Church makes are at a General Conference session, from whom the leaders will be, to what our beliefs are, to how local congregations function. Such a weighty endeavor requires that it be done in good order.
Indeed, Hensley. And to conduct these in good order, we have something called the General Conference Rules of Order. This is just simply like in a football game or a baseball game. This is the rules that we follow in conducting a meeting. It doesn't say what the outcome should be. It doesn't say how anyone should vote. All it says is how we conduct our business so that we can do it in the most efficient way possible. Now, Hensley, the first question delegates will have is how they can participate in the debate at a General Conference session. Now, Hensley, you have chaired a GC session before. How does a delegate get the attention of the chair? Or as we say in parliamentary language, how do they get the floor? Do they raise their hand? Do they just call out?
Let me tell you something. It is not like in a classroom setting where they will raise their hand, the teacher acknowledges them. To gain access, they will have to use their badge. And here, each one of them will receive one and they will scan it. And here to explain that process of scanning is Kenry Hilton, Associate Director for Development at the General Conference here.
Thank you, Hensley. Now, to be added to the queue in order to be recognized to speak, one would simply need to scan their delegate badge at one of several queuing stations like these. Now, these will be close to the microphone. Now, what you'd simply do is to present your badge under the scanner with the QR code facing up, so it can be scanned appropriately. Once that is done, you'll hear an audible beep and you'll also see a visible cue that you'll be added to the queue. And that is it, really. You'll be added to queue at that point. Now, if you no longer wish to speak and you want to be removed from the queue, then you just simply need to scan your badge again. What that will do, it will present you with several options, one of which is to leave the microphone. Once you hit leave microphone one, you'll be successfully removed from the queue. And that is essentially it. So once again, to be added to the queue, simply scan your delegate badge and you'll automatically be added to the queue. Now, in an unusual circumstance, if you want to raise a point of order, then you scan your badge a second time. What that will do, it will bring up several options again. One of them will be a point of order. Once you press point of order, you'll be successfully added to a point of order request. To cancel your point of order, you would simply scan your badge once more, and then you would press leave mic 1 for point of order. And once that's done, you'll be successfully removed from the point of order. And that is how you use the queuing system. Back to you, Hensley.
Todd, so a delegate has scanned his or her badge, has been recognized by the chair. What happens next?
Well, Hensley, delegates can essentially do one of three things. First, and most common, is they can speak for or against the item being debated, the item before the body. Second, they can seek to make a motion about what is being debated. And then third, they can raise a procedural concern. But Hensley, these are very abstract ideas. Why don't we see how this can work in practice?
I believe this is an excellent idea. So what we will do now is we have an example of how a GC session might go in order to illustrate this orientation and how the rules of order work. Let's take a look.
Welcome to this meeting of the General Conference session. We will continue with church manual items. Jason Santos will take us through the next agenda items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is agenda items 4.12 and 4.13, the nominating and election process. These proposed changes to do three things, Pastor Chairman. First, it allows for terms of office to be extended in exceptional circumstances. Second, it allows a local church to create a standing nominating committee. And finally, it allows the church to set a quorum for the nominating committee. The delegates can see the proposed language in the agenda. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
So, brother parliamentarian, what is going on here?
Hensley, this is what we call a main motion or a debate on a main motion. And this is the heart and soul of what we do at General Conference session. Agenda items come before the body, and then we debate them. So, let's see how this debate on this particular item develops.
Good idea. Let's watch it together.
Okay, I see we have someone on microphone number 1, Jason Tracy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I see that on item 412 below, there's some language that says the size of the nominating committee will range from 5 members in a small church to a larger number in a larger church. Mr. Chairman, I really think the church would benefit from setting a limit on how large a nominating committee can be. We say how small it can be, but we need an upper limit as well. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that we add an upper limit to how large a nominating committee can be. Thank you.
Elder Tracy, thank you for your motion. However, the language in the church manual you are referring to is not before the body. We are only considering the underlying language dealing with extending a term. Your suggestion would need to go through the regular church manual process. This would be a new item. Therefore, I cannot accept your motion.
Can a delegate make such a motion?
No, they can't. And the reason is because the agenda items that can be debated are what is before the body. Here we see that a delegate has seen something else that is not part of the underlying section, but is simply unrelated. So while they can make a motion to amend, we're going to talk about that later, it has to be here's a big word, germane or related to what's being debated. So while this is maybe a good idea, it's not an appropriate time or place to make that motion.
So the key here is the underlined section, which is before the body.
Exactly.
Excellent.
If it's not underlined, it's not before the body, and therefore it's not properly a motion about it. Hensley, now that the chair has resolved this issue about the motion that really wasn't appropriate, let's see if there's anything else for him to handle.
Is there any discussion on the motion before us? All right, I see Gabby Collin on microphone number 2. Gabby, please.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. I feel like any such extension of a term should not just be done in consultation with the conference, but with the approval of the conference. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move that the words "in consultation with the" be struck and replaced with the words "with the approval of." Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Is there a second? Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Todd, it looks like the chair is getting a workout here. But tell us a little bit about the difference between these two motions.
Well, here, the motion directly related to the underlined portion, the stuff, the main motion, what is being changed or the proposed changes. I also want to point out that the suggested amendment or the suggested change was very specific. It said, I want to delete these words and I want to insert this word. And so the chair has decided to accept this motion. We'll see a different way later how the chair might be able to have handled this, but because of the specificity of this and because it was directly related to what we were debating here at our example general conference session, the chair has accepted this motion to amend. Now that the motion to amend is before the body to be debated, I wonder if the delegates will have anything else to raise, Hensley.
I see we have Mary Ellen Weingartner on microphone number 3, please.
Mr. Chair, I'm concerned that this does not specify who can extend the term. Is it the pastor? Is it the board? Or?
Sister Weingartner, can I ask you to hold on to that thought? We right now are only debating Sister Collins' amendment. When we get back to the main motion, we can take up your concern.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will come back then.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion on the amendment?
I have a question here. Why did the chair give such a response?
Because Hensley, once you have a motion to amend, that's all you debate. The main motion, what was originally before the body, which Sister Mary Ellen was raising, that is not being debated this time. All we're debating is the motion to amend. So what the chair is saying is certainly entitled to raise this, certainly entitled to debate this, but you have to wait until the main motion comes back. Right now, the only thing that we're debating is this proposed amendment. So Hensley, the debate continues on this motion to amend for some time. We now pick up after a number of speakers have addressed the issue both for and against it.
We now go to Justin Baham on microphone number 3. Your time, Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that we've discussed this issue enough. I move the previous question.
The previous question has been moved and seconded. It has been moved and seconded. We will now vote on the motion to call the previous question. If this passes, we will cease debate and move immediately to voting on the amendment. This motion is non-debatable and requires a 2/3 vote.
Now, tell me something. Can someone just stop the debate like that? What about those who have been in the line for some time?
So no one person can stop a debate, and that's not what this gentleman is trying to do. What the delegate is saying is, I think we as a body have heard enough debate. What needs to be said about this has been said, and for the convenience and for the efficiency of the rest of the body, let's close the debate. So this is called a motion to call the previous question. It's kind of a technical term that we use, but that's the technical wording. But what it really means is we cease debate and go to voting. Now, Hensley, this requires a 2/3 vote. So you can't just cut it off with a simple majority. It requires 2/3 of the delegates to decide to stop this, to move on.
Let's now return to our illustrative GC session after the vote to cease debate. Let's see the outcome and what the chair will do next.
The motion to cease debate having passed, we now move on to vote on the amendment. Remember, this is only a vote to amend the main motion.
So, what will we do now after this vote? Does it matter if the motion passes or fails?
So it matters if the motion passes or fails as far as what will ultimately be voted, perhaps, but procedurally it does not. You simply take up with the main motion after the motion to amend has been voted. After that's happened, whether it's voted up, whether it's voted down, you go back to debating the main motion.
We now go back again to the GC session, but I think we are about to see yet another wrinkle trying to get our item processed.
And I see we have Mary Ellen Weingartner on microphone number 3. Thank you for your patience, Sister Weingartner. The time is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate all the work that has been done on this, but I do have a concern. By allowing the church to extend the term of office, it does not say what extenuating circumstances are, nor does it say who decides if the term is extended. Will this be the pastor? Will it be the board? Will it be a vote of the whole congregation? We need more clarity on this, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make an amendment, but I'm not sure how best to do that.
We know that our delegates are enjoying this orientation. Now, can a delegate ask the chair for guidance like that? Also, Todd, I'm wondering, is this motion appropriate?
So first, the delegates can ask the chair for some guidance. Now, this is a body with over 2,000 delegates, so you have to be respectful of everyone's time, but it is appropriate to make an inquiry to the chair about where we are in a process. As far as if the motion is appropriate, it's the appropriate time, so we're talking about the main motion, unlike before, but she didn't really make a motion. She just simply expressed an idea, a concern, but she didn't say, well, I want to take out these words and I want to replace them with these words. She also didn't say, I move, which is an important and necessary part to make a motion. And that's fine. She simply said, here's what I would like to do, Mr. Chairman. How can I accomplish this? And I think we'll see here how the chair now handles that request.
Elder Santos would like to address this. But before we do that, I see we have a point of order on microphone number 2. Flavia Klein, please.
Mr. Chairman, I've been advised that the translation service is not working. None of this translation radios receive any audio anymore.
Oh, okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
We have now come to my favorite part of this orientation. Points of order. They have been an issue at prior GC session. Todd, tell us, what are points of order? Can anyone just come to the mic and raise a point of order?
Hensley, points of order are important items that concern the entire body. They don't go to the item that's being debated. They're not a debate item, but there's something like we just saw here with Sister Klein, where translation was down. You can't really continue business until that is resolved, and so it's appropriate that a delegate be able to stop the business, raise this with the chair, so the chair can get this resolved before we move forward. But as you can imagine, points of order can be very distracting, very disruptive. And so if people raise things that really aren't a point of order, then that can delay the entire body. And so it's important that people understand what a point of order is and what a point of order is not. And Hensley, all of this is in the rules of order that each delegate was given when they registered.
So that is why we need the full attention of our delegates now to understand exactly what a point of order is and what it is not, right, Todd?
Exactly. And I think we're going to see next an example of something that is really not a point of order.
We are glad we have the translation back. We can now continue with our meeting. But before we do that, I see we have another point of order on microphone number 1. Gary Krause, please.
Yes, I'm sorry, Pastor Chair, but with the greatest respect, I am thoroughly confused. This has been going on forever. We've been to Timbuktu and back with 100 stops all over the place. I don't even know what we're discussing anymore. I don't even know whether I'm in Battle Creek or if I'm in St. Louis. So I move that we start over again.
Is this really a point of order? Can a delegate just come and ask to start over again? Also, what is the delegate to do if he or she is confused?
Well, this is not a point of order, as the chair said. And if a delegate is confused, first of all, it's important to pay attention during a session, because if each person who may get lost or comes to the microphone, there's 2,000 people, right? That's going to be really disruptive. However, if there is a question about the procedural nature, you can ask the chair, and I think we're going to see here how the chair handles this particular request.
Thank you, Brother Krause. We certainly have a lot going on. I can understand, but I cannot accept your motion. Starting over is not a motion. Second, points of order are for specific items such as raised before that impact the body, like translations being down. Generally speaking, motions cannot be made when one is recognized for a point of order. However, let me try to get everyone up to speed. We are debating items 412 and 413 on the agenda. Sister Weingartner raised some concerns, and now we will try to answer them. Elder Santos, would you care to address Sister Weingartner's concerns?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. These are very good questions. And we discussed some of these items in the Church Manual Committee already, but perhaps we can take this back to the Church Manual Committee and bring this item back to the floor later during the session.
Hensley, you work in Secretariat.
Yes, I do.
Indeed. Can you explain how this committee process works during session?
So, Todd, at the beginning of a GC session, we vote several standing committees, right?
Right.
One of them is the Church Manual Committee. So the amendments, similar to the ones we are discussing here, cannot be discussed on the plenary session, on the floor, with 2,000 people having their own perspective, their own ideas. Even if it is not just a word or a figure, an idea, it is difficult. Do you concur with me?
It is.
With 2,000 perspectives. So the Church Manual Committee, one of the standing committees of session, is there for that very purpose. They will convene, look at the suggestions that were made, make a decision, and then come back to report to the floor their findings.
Now, Hensley, any delegate that wants to can meet with the Church Manual Committee, correct?
Of course, they can.
And they'll be explained at session how they do that, right?
Yeah, we will tell them at what time they meet and where they meet, because we want to encourage them to come to that committee for such questions and suggestions.
So it's not that we don't want input, it's just that doing this on the floor at session is really unwieldy.
It is impractical, Brother Todd, to do that with 2,000 plus people.
Yeah.
Very well. This item then will go back to the Church Manual Committee. We will announce when and where that will meet at another time. Anyone who wishes to speak to the committee on this item, 412 and 413, can meet with the committee. Elder Santos, what is the next item?
Well, Hensley, we got through exactly one item. Hopefully at session things move a little bit quicker than this. But I think this is hopefully a good example for our delegates about some, not all, but some of the issues that can come up and how to handle this. We want people to be able to participate in this, to not feel intimidated, to not feel like their voice isn't being heard, but also we have to have all the delegates following the rules and the procedures that set forth so we don't have chaos, so we don't have disorder. We simply follow this as God intended all things to be followed, and that is in good order.
Indeed. And we hope that you have enjoyed this orientation. Brothers and sisters, delegates, let us conduct the business of the Lord's church in a way that will honor Him, and in a place where the Holy Spirit will continue to guide our decisions.
Thank you very much, Elder Hensley and Elder Todd. You know, it's a little bit disconcerting when you see them and you have them sitting beside you and on the podium. It really is seeing double. And if you're here, you see them on 4 screens as well. So, but thank you very much for that orientation. And I hope it will help us as we go into our church manual agenda to conduct our business well. And, you know, as we go to the church manual, I hope that we can listen to each other. If on items there is a lot of debate, there clearly is differences of opinion, we may consider sending it back to the church manual committee. But if there is consensus, as I said, we will then proceed to a vote. Now the question is, how does an item relating to the church manual come to a general conference session? Anyone can begin that process. It may begin in a local church, may begin with a local go to the general conference. Now, when it comes to the general conference, there is a church manual committee. Now, that committee is not made up of people who just work at the general conference. It meets every annual council, and it is comprised of people in ministerial, the Biblical Research Committee are there, Secretariat, who deal with a lot of the practicalities, the policies, the division secretaries, frontline pastors. So, and all divisions, all parts of the globe are represented. And having sat on that committee, you hear as we grapple, as we listen to each other, and listen to the concerns of a worldwide, and very, on occasions, diverse church. And as we listen, we try to come with best practice. The church manual is our guide, our rule book for what happens in the local church and in the conference. Now, it's not designed to beat people over the head. What it's designed to do is to ensure that we as a church practice in a consistent way. So it doesn't matter where I go to church, anywhere in the world, I know that there are certain rules that will guide our behavior. Now, you know, an idea may come just from a division, or it may come from a department. But there is a process where we listen to each other. Once the Church Manual Committee has worked on a recommendation, it is voted by annual council. It then goes to the year-end meetings of each division. And each division then will share that. And so there is room within the quinquennium for feedback to come back from the divisions back to the Church Manual Committee. The only place where amendments to the Church Manual Committee can be made are at a General Conference session. So this is our task. We're starting it today. We will continue this afternoon, tomorrow. We'll see how far we go. But that is how we have got to where we are today. So they're not just random ideas, they're ideas that have gone through a thoughtful, prayerful process with input from every part of the world. So I see that there is one speaker on microphone 12, Mark Woodson from the Northern California Conference. Mark.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate your explanation of the process that it takes to put together ideas for the church manual. That's very helpful. At the end of in the last session in 2022, there were quite a few amendments that had gone through the process all the way from 2015 that didn't get, because of the shortness of our session the last time, that didn't get to be reviewed or brought to this group. And it's disappointing to me that those items that we didn't get to in the last session were not brought back to this session. You just explained the process of what it takes to bring those items, and there were a number of items that came from our division, came from our union, that didn't get to be considered, and they didn't to me, they should have been brought right back to this session since they didn't get covered before. So I'm wondering if there's any thought about those items that were not covered in 2022 to somehow be brought back either to this. It'd be nice if it was brought back to this session because of all of the work that was done on them. We spent a lot of time on creating these suggestions for the church manual. Some of them are pretty important too, but they weren't brought back and they weren't put on the agenda for this session. So I wonder if there's any discussion about those items that were left from 2022. I noticed that in the treasurer's report that our treasurer mentioned items that were suggested in 2022 and brought them back to this body in 2025. I wonder if the same thing could be done as it relates to the church manual, those items that were left that were not discussed then.
Thank you very much. I am going to ask Elder Gershon Santos, who is the secretary of the Church Manual Committee. I believe that the very first item that we have is something that has been brought back, but Elder Santos, can you help us?
Sure, it would be my pleasure, Madam Chair. As the speaker mentioned properly, there are some items, several items refer back to the committee last time. They were brought back again to the floor with exception of one item, and it is the first one in our agenda. With a minor difference, it was a larger item, including 3 different things. When the Church Manual Committee met, first time we met, we discussed it, and we decided to summarize. As you understand, this quinquennium has had way less than 5 years. So we didn't have many Church Manual Committee meetings to discuss longer items. So I would say only one item was sent back to, was not brought to the floor, so it was referred to the Church Manual Committee, and then later on, when we met at the proper time, we discussed it and reviewed the item, and we are bringing back again the same item with minor changes, and this is the first item in the agenda. I hope it's clear.
Thank you very much, Elder Santos. And on microphone 5, we have a point of order from Monique Pretorius, Northern California. Northern Conference, SID.
Madam Speaker, yes, I'm on your right.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I don't see the time. Yes, on the previous speaker, the time was not there yet. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, thank you very much, Monique. We had noticed and had a little moment of panic, so thank you. We go now to microphone number 2, Andres Jimenez from the Inter-American Division.
Muy buenos días para todos. Dios le bendiga.
Can we have a translator?
Que la paz del Señor Jesucristo esté con nosotros.
Excuse me, my brother. Can we have a translator?
Okay.
Division's supposed to provide that.
Can someone help us from IAD, please?
There's someone coming.
I see someone coming. Thank you. And if we can reset the time.
Okay. Bueno, muchas bendiciones, honorable presidente, secretaria, hermanos, dirigentes de todas nuestras asociaciones y uniones en el mundo entero. La bendición del Todopoderoso para ustedes.
Blessing to all of you. Basically, is what it said.
El propósito de presentarme en ese lugar es porque tengo cierta preocupación y quisiera que se presentara y se agregara en el manual de nuestra iglesia.
I would like to bring a point that I would like to be added into the discussion of this morning.
Para mí una alta preocupación el cuidado de los adultos mayores, nuestros ancianos en el mundo entero.
First of all, is how we take care of our seniors members.
Excuse me, my brother. We are not taking any new things into the agenda. And we have had that discussion. I hate to cut you short, but we have our agenda, we have the items, and we cannot take new items at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. Microphone number 12, Leroy Abrahams, North American Division.
Hello, thank you for letting me share. With all due respect, I do want to respond to our lovely orientation. It is clear that GC committees, with many of the same members and senior leadership, have collaborated and worked as a unit to create the agenda and present motions and candidates to us for approval. I find it hypocritical that delegates are banned from engaging in similar activities and threatened with disqualification from leadership roles if they don't comply. We need to be honest and face the fact that we are mere mortals and we need each other to make good decisions. Even though we have the veneer of consensus and inclusion by having over 2,800 delegates and 277 delegates on the nominating committee, basic organizational theory, psychology, and history show us that it's the individual or the individuals who set the agenda and present the options that hold the true power. If we truly want this GC to be impactful, we need to start by being honest and realize that collaboration on decision-making and representing the needs of your community are human and are activities that are necessary inputs to make the best decisions for the larger body. Smoothness of meeting proceedings is not evidence of the working of the Holy Spirit. Many of the greatest movements and impactful decisions have—
And that you have read what we sent out 6 weeks ago. So